Hello students, I'm going to be Learning Partner Project number 1 in order that I can model a little bit of how it's done so you have a visual to see what the fruition of your Learning Partner Project comes out as. So I'm going to do it on one reading. I'm only one person. I don't have a partner, so I only did one reading, but that'll give you the idea of what you need to do. You need to do 2 readings on your partner. I'm only doing 1 on your Learning Partner Project. Okay, so the story I chose out of our text was With These Words I Can Sell You Anything by William Lutz. William Lutz, here's a picture of him, is a professor of linguistics at Rutgers University, and he's the author of a very famous book entitled Doublespeak that is taught on universities and required reading in many a class throughout the country. He's also very famous for having appeared on numerous television and radio programs to publicize the dangers of doublespeak, including Today, Larry King Live, the CBS Evening News, the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour, which is a very well-reputed news event on PBS, and National Public Radio's Morning Edition. As he is the author of these books, Doublespeak, and here's a copy of the covers for you to have a visual, he states in his television interview in Book Notes by C-SPAN that doublespeak is most prevalent in government and then is followed closely by the advertising industry. And that's something we as informed citizens need to consider and to keep in mind. Okay, so here are some of the elements now that you are required to analyze as you break the readings into its parts in order to better understand the whole. That's the meaning of analyzing. So what is the significance of the title? Well, With These Words I Can Sell You Anything speaks to the entire theme of the essay. It's pointing out the words that ad claims use to misdirect and mislead the people into buying a product they maybe even don't need or don't want. Here he also discusses the ad's use of weasel words, and the theme has to do with weasel words appear to say one thing when in fact they say the opposite class or nothing at all, and that definition comes on page 127 in your text. Let's look at an example of some weasel words here in this little ad I have. Supreme, supreme clean, what does that mean? Well, it sounds good, the E, the long E sound, the assonance, supreme, clean, but really class, it doesn't mean a thing. And also it doesn't tell you that 9 out of 10 dentists can't be wrong. Does it tell you that they recommended the product? And even if they did, does it tell you that they were paid to recommend the product? So a paid endorsement, of course, is meaningless. So weasel words are when advertisers appear to be making a claim about a product when in fact they're making no claim at all. For instance, Supreme Clean, that doesn't make a claim. It doesn't say anything. It's just 2 glad-sounding words. Alright, what are the tone, audience, and purpose of our reading? Well, the author's tone is accusatory. He's definitely calling to task the advertising industry and government. Who then would be his audience? Well, his audience is academic. Educated people, students, the public that watches PBS and C-SPAN on TV, and the public that listens to NPR. What is his purpose? To inform. He wants to inform his audience of the language of ad claims, also known as doublespeak. How about his use of evidence? How does he bring his points home? Well, he uses definition to explain the meaning of many of the weasel words, so all his terms are clearly defined. This is something that's done in good academic writing. And he provides ample examples to support his claims. And the examples we can laugh at because we're all hooked by some of this language. Nobody escapes this, what Kalle Lasson calls the psychological project of repetitive driving, to get this message into and brainwash us into buying these products. Here's some examples of weasel words that he writes about in his text. Helps, fast, fights, controls, virtually new and or improved, acts like, can be, up to, unfinished. New and improved, you do know that if a product changes the color of its label, it is now new and improved. And it can be called new and improved for up to 6 months. The inside of the product, the stuff that you use to clean, for instance, that chemical formula hasn't changed at all. Just the label, but it's new and improved. Another example of how we can be duped is the up to. Macy's sale has to up to 70% off. Well, this can mean that only 1 or 2 items are 70% off. Maybe the rest are 10, 15, 20% off, 25% off, or nothing else is on sale but those 1 or 2 items, up to 72% off. Or the price tag was inflated, where they double the price, for instance, and then say you can take 70% off the tag price, and you're paying a lot more than you would expect to. Another example that we all fall prey to is parody advertising. Parody means equal. So, for instance, ShopRite ketchup and Heinz ketchup, though Heinz in this ad that I have here on my slide says no one grows ketchup like Heinz, that's completely false, because ketchup is basically the same recipe throughout the world. Ketchup and tomatoes and sugar, and it doesn't taste that different, no matter what brand you choose. So parody advertising is pretending that their product, Heinz, is better than everybody else's, when in fact it is not. Virtually is a dangerous weasel word, and it has to do with the birth control example that was given in the text. It means not in fact. When taken as directed, birth control tablets offer virtually 100% protection, so you think, hey, I can't get pregnant. Meaning, though, when you take as directed, the tablets will not in fact provide 100% protection, and you can get pregnant, and some people have while on the birth control pills. Very misleading advertising. So how are the readings connected? I chose to connect 3 of the readings that were assigned with these words: I can sell you anything, the language of ad claims, and propaganda techniques. They all discuss the language of advertisements and how the language, misleads consumers and or voters. They all use examples for evidence or definitions to explain as they support their points. And all writers are experts in their fields, all experts on language at university level. Now class, here are the higher thinking questions, and I will get to those in a minute. I just wanted to finish this recording. Here's my works cited page. Even the images that I used have to be cited, so that's something you should remember when you're configuring your works cited page. There's no hanging indent in Google presentations, by the way, so that's why I don't have the hanging indent, but we can do that in Word. So here are some of my sources, and I'm going to leave these questions up, and we will hopefully have discussions. I'm going to assign one question to a group. I'll have 4 groups, and the groups will have some time to discuss and come up with a robust answer. And these questions are designed, as yours should be, to promote deep thinking. I thank you for the opportunity to show you how a learning partner project comes to fruition, and it was a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.